Well, the FAA now planning to hire some 9,000 air traffic controllers, but the agency is still expected to have staffing shortages. In a report, the agency says it intends to supercharge both hiring and training, but there are concerns it won't be enough. NewsNation's Marcus Espinoza is live from Newark Airport. So, Marcus, what are you learning now from the FAA?
Kelly, good afternoon. Yeah, so that number is large, right? 9,000, but we got to do some math to break it down because it's not exactly going to be that much. In fact, it's going to be far less for the number of air traffic controllers that'll actually get put into place by the end of the year and then by the end of 2028 when they want this plan to go into effect. So let's break this down a little bit for you here because there's a lot of factors, Kelly, going into this. In a new report, the FAA has outlined their goal of hiring 8,900 air traffic controllers by 2028, okay? They're starting with 2,000 this year and ramping that number up by a few hundred each following year. But don't get too excited yet. Elsewhere in that same report, the FAA details all of the ATCs they expect to lose in that same time frame for reasons ranging from retirement to academy dropouts. Okay, so that number, 6,872, which means that they're really only looking at a net growth of just more than 2,000 employees. But you also have to consider the difference between an ATC and a certified professional controller. Okay, stick with me here. ATCs, once they finish at the academy, have to undergo 2 to 3 years of additional training, both on the job and in the classrooms before they are considered CPCs and are allowed to take on all of the job's responsibilities. The FAA reports that they are only expecting a net growth of about 1,000 of these CPCs rather, including those still in training by the end of 2028. America's facing about a shortage of 3,000 ATCs right now. So any way you kind of cut up these numbers here, it's still not enough. It is definitely a step in the right direction, Kelly, but there is a lot of progress still to make.
Yeah, it sounds like it. So what are some of the steps being taken to increase retention and close this gap overall?
Yeah, Kelly, in the words of Jerry Maguire, show me the money. And that's really what this is about here, is that they're trying to incentivize folks to stay on. They're trying to get more money from the federal government as well. So those are part of the plan to kind of take down or tackle this problem and get more ATCs in there as well. So that's the big one here, is that they're trying to up the starting salaries for ATC students, going up by nearly 30%. And while the report from the FAA says that only about 800 or so ATCs are expected to retire between now and 28, and that the hiring and training timelines account for this, so new hires are ready to go before retirees leave. Duffy also announced a 20% salary bonus for anyone eligible to retire but below that mandatory retirement age who decides to stay on. So the hiring process has also been streamlined. What used to be 8 steps is now just 5, which Duffy says makes the hiring process 5 months faster. But even with the streamlined process, the FAA is anticipating more than 3,000 students in the academy to fail to complete the program. So basically, this essential beef up is critical to try to keep these skies safe, but a lot of folks will drop out during that training, Kelly, so they're going to have to keep pumping in new recruits here, so to speak, to try to get this problem tackled, but they have certainly started on it.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.